are separated by continents, cultures, and over 7,000 languages. We try to understand each other, but an invisible wall always stands in the way. But what if your language, and even your genetic code, tells a forgotten story? All roads lead back to one point, the place where the whole world spoke with one voice. That point is Babel. After the Great Flood, humanity migrated eastward to the plains of Shinar. At Eridu, the oldest city, they forged a new technology. Not stone, but baked brick. Not mud, but tar. And here, they decided to build a tower to the heavens. But God intervened. God confusing their language was not just a punishment, but the fulfillment of his original command to fill the earth. This turning point occurred in the days of Peleg. The descendants of Noah's three sons, Ham, Japheth, and Shem, began the greatest migration in history. Ham. His descendants moved southwest, creating the Hamitic branches of the Afro-Asiatic family. This includes Cushitic, Egyptian, Berber, and Chadic. Ham's son Cush had a son named Re'amah, and his descendants are said to have first settled in the Arabian Peninsula. But later, they were likely displaced by Shem's descendants, the Jokhtanites, crossing the Red Sea back into Africa. It was here that the Cushitic languages were formed. Beyond the Cushitic languages, Cush's descendants spread further into the depths of the African continent, creating vast language families. This includes the Nilo-Saharan of Central Africa and the Niger-Congo groups covering West and South Africa. Even the unique Khoisan language group of Southern Africa is highly likely to be descended from Cush. Although modern linguistics consider these as separate groups, from the perspective of biblical ethnology, the entire population of the African continent appears to have branched out from Cush's lineage. Also, the migration didn't stop in Africa. Some researchers believe that Cush's descendants migrated southeast along the Indian Ocean coast, forming the Papuan languages and the Australian Aboriginal languages. This is the Great Southern Migration. Next is Mizraim. From him originated ancient Egyptian, or the Coptic language, which became a wonder of humanity. But his sons, the Caphtorites and Casluhim, possibly crossed the sea and built the Minoan civilization on the island of Crete. The Bible states that the Philistines came from Casluhim. When they later settled in Canaan, it is likely they lost their native Hamitic language and adopted the local Semitic language. Ham's other son, Put, settled to the west. Historians consider him the ancestor of the Libyans and the origin of the native North African Berber language family. Just south of Put, along the Sahara, the Chadic languages emerged. While genetically linked to Cush, geographically they settled next to their brother Put. There is also a fascinating hypothesis. Before the Indo-Europeans arrived, Neolithic farmers had already settled Europe. Historians consider it highly probable that these first Europeans were Ham's descendants who migrated via the Mediterranean Sea. The only surviving witness of those ancient tongues is the Basque language, located in the mountains of Spain. Finally, Canaan and the Amorites. Although they were Ham's descendants by lineage, geographically they lived too close to the Semites of Mesopotamia. Therefore, they lost their native Hamitic language and began speaking a borrowed Semitic language like Aramaic. However, vestiges of the ancient Hamitic language remained in their speech. Thus, the legacy of Ham is vast. From the civilizations of the Nile to the depths of Africa and across the Mediterranean Sea. His descendants separated from Babel and filled the southern lands with a rich diversity of languages and cultures. Japheth, Genesis 9:27. May God enlarge Japheth. As prophesied, his sons spawned the widest range of languages on earth. When the Great Migration began, some groups remained in the Caucasian mountains. Here, the Caucasian languages emerged. Sources suggest this may be a hybrid family rather than descending from a single son of Japheth. From Japheth's sons came the Kurgan culture of the Eurasian steppes. These are the ancestors of the massive Indo-European family. This is the largest language tree in human history. Japheth's eldest son Gomer moved west towards Europe, matching archaeological findings. From his line emerged the Celtic and Germanic language branches. But Magog, his line first moved northwest, likely forming the Uralic group. This includes Finnish, Hungarian, and the Samoyedic peoples of the Arctic. To the east, Madai fathered the Persians. From him developed the Indo-Iranian branch, spreading the Iranian and Indian languages. Javan is undoubtedly the father of the Hellenic or Greek culture. His son Kittim moved west to Cyprus and Italy, forming the Italic language branch. Also, in the mountains of the Caucasus, the Armenian branch formed. Historians link this ancient people to Gomer's son Togarma. In the vast plains of Central Asia, Tubal and Gomer's son Togarma settled. Some researchers believe they formed the nomadic Altaic family. This includes Turkic, Mongolic, and Tungasic languages. Structurally, Korean and Japanese may also belong to this flow. To the north, Meshek settled. He is hypothesized to be the origin of the Slavic language family. Ancient sources describe the Moskoid tribes migrating into the northern steppes, laying the foundation for this group. Another son, Tyrus, may have settled South India, becoming the ancestor of the Dravidian languages like Tamil, according to some alternative hypotheses. But the migration didn't stop. Magog's descendants pushed deeper east to the Yellow River. From him likely came the vast Sino-Tibetan family. Although many link China to the Sinites of Ham, the linguistic spread suggests Magog is the more probable ancestor. Magog may have moved south from China, forming the Afro-Asiatic language family. Hybrid languages also emerged. The Thai language group is thought to be a fusion of the northern Sino-Tibetan and southern Afro-Asiatic groups. However, the Austronesian language group is the most debated. Some sources link Javan to this group, matching his description as the father of maritime peoples. Others linked this group to the descendants of Ham. Finally, the descendants of Meshek and Tubal moved further, reaching Siberia, forming the Paleo-Siberian languages. But they didn't stop there. They crossed the Bering Strait into the Americas, forming the Na-Dene languages and Eskimo-Aleut languages of North America and spreading south to form the Amerind family of South America. And so, fulfilling the ancient prophecy, Japheth's line expanded to cover half the globe. Shem, unlike his brothers, he stayed in the Middle East, preserving the Semitic language family. It was from his lineage that humanity's oldest written languages and first civilizations were born. Shem's son Elam's descendants moved east into ancient Persia, creating the Elamite language. Meanwhile, Ashur's line settled in northern Mesopotamia. They, along with the Babylonians, spoke the Akkadian language. Although now extinct, this is one of the oldest written languages in human history. From Arpachshad branched the Hebrew and Arabic roots. Here lies a mystery. Sumerian, the first language of Mesopotamia, is an isolate, related to no other. Some scholars suggest that Arpachshad's family may have preserved the original pre-Babel tongue. Lud's descendants moved northwest into Asia Minor, while history records them speaking an Anatolian language, a branch of the Indo-European family. Their roots trace back to Shem. Finally, Aram. He settled west in Syria, originating Aramaic. This language is historically vital. It is the language Jesus himself spoke. Thus, the story that began at one tower branched into 1,000 paths. From the sands of Africa to the Russian steppes, from the Pacific Islands to the Americas, the dispersion of Babel filled the earth. To the four corners of the world, the silent, empty continents were awakened by the echo of thousands of languages, and a new history began to be written. No matter how far we travel or how different our words become, we all share one common origin. We speak many tongues, but we are one family.